Navarro, and I'm the Superintendent of Charles County Public Schools. And we will be talking about the state of our schools this evening. I am going to switch to Spanish to be able to tell our multilingual families how to access interpretation. So bear with me 1 second. Buenas noches, bienvenidos a nuestra presentación esta noche sobre los estados de las escuelas. Si necesita servicios de intérprete, por favor, vaya a la parte de abajo y utilice el globo que dice interpretación y seleccione el idioma de español para poder tener el intérprete. Good evening again. Welcome. Thank you for being here this evening. I want to thank everybody who is participating, our families, our staff, our elected officials, our Board of Education who is here. And tonight, we will be spending about an hour going through some important data points that tell the story of how our school system is doing, along with some important information that we've developed in a PowerPoint that will be posted tomorrow with lots of links that directly link families information about our school system. This website is designed for people to go back, be able to watch this recording, but access this PowerPoint with all of its information to be able to find out how to better navigate and communicate with the school system and each of their children's schools. So let's get started. Shelley, if we can have the PowerPoint presentation. As we prepare and as the PowerPoint is coming up, I did want to make a note that the information that we'll be sharing this evening will primarily focus on student academic, the strategic plan of the school system, and some wellness and behavioral information about our students. However, I know that families want to know a lot more than just about those topics. One of the things that families want to know more about is school safety and how we support the safety of our students every single day. So I want to invite our families to watch our Board of Education meeting on October 15th. We will have a presentation that goes deep into culture, climate, school safety, along with a follow-up town hall that we will be having on November 4th to discuss this topic with our community. So I invite our families to join us again for both the board presentation, which you can always catch if you're not able to watch it live, as well as joining us for a virtual Zoom meeting that we will have on November 4th. And don't worry if you don't have all these dates. We are sending this information via all of our social media outlets and emails to our families to remind them to join us. So why don't we go ahead and get started? And let's have a conversation around the state of the schools. So the state of the schools is based on key metric indicators that look at how our students are doing through multiple data points. They include academic data indicators. They include how students are doing outside of their academic day. And they also include data points around how we are doing in terms of engaging our community and having our students participate and our families participate a lot more in our activities. So we have designed the strategic plan. We are actually in year 3 of the implementation of our strategic plan. I do want to make you aware that you will see the icons of the links throughout our presentation. They are meant to be the opportunity for you to literally click on the link and it'll take you directly to specific areas like our full strategic plan, where all information is there available to you in graphs and data points to see more in detail how our students are doing. Our strategic plan focuses on 3 priority areas: student learning and achievement, access and opportunity, and improvements in the culture and the climate in all of our schools. So we're going to talk about a couple of data points. Again, I would ask that if you to please visit our strategic plan so that you can see in more detail the data that we're showing tonight, but disaggregated by multiple subs. The other thing that I want to make families aware of is you think of the plan for the school system as the strategic plan. Each school also has its own plan that talks about how we're continuously improving, and that is the school improvement plan. And I really want to urge our families to become aware of their school-specific school improvement plan. And those school improvement plans are going to be posted in each of the websites of all of our schools. And throughout the year, as we talk about our school improvement plans in every single one of our schools, we're also going to be working to get some feedback from our families on how they can help shape the focus areas of improvement in each of our schools. Next slide, please. So how is CCPS doing? Again, all of these metrics can be seen when you hit the link to our strategic plan. One of the things that we are focused on in our strategic plan is how do we provide programs that ensure that our students are ready for school and are continuing to be successful throughout school. How do we get students ready for their next step after they leave us, which is college and career readiness? And also, what are some of the data points that we monitor throughout? I will talk about our state assessment, which is MCAP, as well as a district assessment that we use multiple times throughout the year. It is called the iReady assessment, and we monitor the achievement of students with multiple data points throughout. So let's go into some of the data. Next slide. So we really do monitor the progress of students all the way from kindergarten to the time they leave us and graduate. And so important investments in the last 3 years have been made to expanding the number of students that are enrolling in pre-K programs and the supports that we provide them early on so that they're ready for kindergarten. In the chart that you see, in the graph that you see regarding the kindergarten readiness data, KRA data, you see that the school system continues to improve on the number of students that are fully ready for kindergarten or partially ready. We want to lower the number of kids who are not ready for kindergarten by having strong academic programs in the pre-K years. I will tell you that last year, the system almost doubled the number of students in pre-K programs. Currently, I think we have exceeded the numbers. We are, as of September 30th, we are about 1,166 students in our pre-K programs, and that is more than doubled in the past 2 years. So we have been investing and we've been increasing those numbers in the last 3 years because we think that investing in early education pays huge dividends in our students being ready for school and continuing to do well in school. We track a lot of data points in between those early kindergarten assessments and all the way till the time the students graduate as seniors. So the second graph that you see there is the percentage of seniors that we think have had experiences throughout their high school career that make them more ready for college and career. That means that students have either taken advanced placement classes, they have completed a CTE program, which is a career training program, or they have taken college courses through a dual enrollment or an early college program. So we're about 62% of our students have done that. That gives us confidence that those seniors have had experiences in their high school career that better prepares them for their next phase in life. So I would say that we need to improve on that percentage, but we are showing good progress as we move forward. One thing I want to stop and note is you may have questions throughout this presentation. And in the chat, we ask that if you do have questions or if there are things that you'd like to learn a little bit more about this presentation, please put it in the chat. We're going to take all the information from all of our participants, and we're going to come back and at the end try to answer some questions before we end tonight. We will post, if you ask us questions, we will post the answers to your questions once we post this PowerPoint and this video, I think by tomorrow morning. Next slide. Another data indicator is the state assessment, and that is, as I mentioned before, the MCAP. Here are these charts demonstrate for the past 3 years how we've been doing in terms of our scores at the elementary level and at the secondary level when it comes to English language arts. I will say that we've been somewhat stagnant in our progress. Next slide. In both math and in both English language arts and math. And I want to cue up that mathematics continues to be an area of needed attention and continual improvement, not just in Charles County, but across the state. Our percentages of students ready at their grade level in mathematics, according to the state assessment, are too low. And so we are focusing on ensuring that we have strong curriculum, additional supports for our teachers as they are implementing this curriculum, and interventions that support student learning, tutoring and interventions early on so that our students continue to progress and meet with success at these key milestones. The MCAP is the state assessment. It is given once a year at the end of the year. Next slide. Another data indicator we use across the system is the iReady assessment. And you may or may not have heard about the iReady. It is given 3 times a year. And it really monitors the progress of where the student is. And it'll let you know if the student is on grade level or is below grade level and how much below grade level they are. This, I think, I always get asked from parents, what data point should I be monitoring? And I always tell parents to monitor the iReady reports because they happen 3 times a year. It is not a one-time assessment, and they show the specific progress of your child. The iReady reports are specific to where your child is, and the parent reports that we get from iReady are able to give you information about what your kid needs to do, their next steps. It is a great tool for parents to use as they're having parent-teacher conferences and they're coming in and having conversations around what does my kid need to do to improve their reading levels or their math levels, and then what can I do as a parent to support that? You're going to hear me talk about iReady throughout this presentation. But as a parent, I know that it is a good tool and that parents need to access it. So I have a plug for the fact that we have another district Zoom meeting on Tuesday, October 8th at 6 p.m. And this information you should have gotten through emails. If you haven't, follow our social media, go to our website. It's posted on our website. And I urge families to go to this Zoom meeting or watch it afterwards. We will post it afterwards, where we show you how to access your child's Zoom reports, and then also what those reports mean, how to read them, how to understand them, and what to do with them. So please tune in and know iReady. iReady is given at the elementary level and continues into the middle schools. We will continue to give iReady for specific students that have an IEP in either reading or math in high school up until 10th grade. It is an assessment that shows better progress for our students than the state assessment. And we believe that it is, because it is given throughout the year, it can help us pinpoint what our students need, not just at the end of the year, but throughout the year. Next slide. So the strategic plan talks about the fact that we need to increase access for kids to have opportunities to be successful. I've mentioned the fact that one of those areas is increasing access as early as we possibly can with students. So our pre-K numbers, like I mentioned, have really risen in the past 2 to 3 years. We've expanded our early learning sites in La Plata and Waldorf with the intentionality of supporting students early on so that they're ready to enter into kindergarten. We've also increased the number of ways we engage families. I have to say, after we came back from the pandemic, and for a while the school system was closed to a lot of in-person meetings, we did see a lot of decline in our PTO and PTSOs throughout the school system. These are very important parts of our school culture, and we need to have them represented. I have to tell you that in August of 2022, August of 2023, about 63% of our PTOs and PTSOs were active and were doing well. That's not good enough. A year later, by the end of June of 2024, so this past June, we're up to 82%. We still have work to do, but I do have to congratulate the school communities who came together and have rebuilt or started their PTOs and PTSOs. We've expanded the number of opportunities for students to participate in athletics and extracurricular activities. We expanded after-school activities in middle schools in the last 2 years, and we've increased the participation, including the participation of females in sports and clubs. And part of this work was the diligent work of our Board of Education. The previous Board of Education and this Board of Education have grappled with the eligibility policy, and their work has resulted in increasing access to close to 700 more CCPS students so that they can now participate in extracurricular activities that include clubs and athletics, and they are thriving as part of their participation. We said we were going to do a dual language, two-way immersion program. It is now its first year. It is in its first year. We started with pre-K and kindergarten students. This was an important piece that I heard from the community, that we needed to establish multilingual programs that allow students to learn content and learn multiple languages at the same time. We're excited that we started this year, and we know that these numbers are only going to grow. And then you're going to see some data around increasing the number of students that take advanced classes, advanced placement classes, along with the ability to take high school courses in middle school. So Shelley, can we go to the next slide? So let me talk a little bit about why this is important. And we believe that access is key for students to be able to have access to rigorous programs and opportunities and be supported so they can really, really meet their potential and thrive. 2 years ago, we started major reform efforts in the middle schools, where we expanded the number of high school courses that students could take in middle school, because we knew a lot of our students, if supported, were ready to do so. And so what you see here is that in 21-22, we had Algebra 1, Spanish 1, and French 1, and we had about 1,600, just a little over 1,600 students take those high school credits. Fast forward to 2 years later, and now we have over 3,392 students that at the end of this year were taking high school level classes. If you go to our link for the strategic plan, you will see that most of these students were scoring higher, well in their academics while taking these high school courses, which means that given the support, students were ready to take on this challenge. And that's important because that opens more opportunities for students to not just be challenged in middle school, but then open their schedules for high school. And what we're seeing at the high school level with, again, and access to more rigorous courses is that the number of students taking AP classes continues to increase, and the number of students taking AP tests has gone up dramatically. What we also the strategic plan and go under our AP tab, you'll see that even with the large increase in AP exams, we have not lost any ground in terms of our AP scores. This is the diligent work of our staff working with our students, providing summer pre-AP preparation courses and helping them as they're taking their AP classes. So we are finding opportunities, and we're finding more and more students willing to take these rigorous coursework early on and then meeting with success. Next slide. So the next part of this presentation really focuses on and was designed with sending you to a lot of different places where you can find deeper information about the school system. And we designed the next couple of slides thinking about what do parents need to know? What are some things that they need to understand about the school system to better navigate the school system and their own specific school? What would be that sort of side-by-side advice? And I saw the list of people that are here tonight, and I know I have in my group a lot of PTO and PTSO leaders. And I would say that this is also a presentation that you can use as you're trying to help inform your parents in your local school communities about information that they need to have. The first thing that I will say is that for students to be successful, we need parents plugged in. So we have a Facebook account, we have Instagram, we have X. We ask you to stay connected to our social media as the school system, as Charles County Public Schools, but also your school's specific social media, because there's a lot of information that comes through those. Please make sure that the schools continue to have the right phone number for you, the right email, the right way to contact you, because that is how we stay connected. And I know as a parent in Charles County, there's a lot of information that comes at us, but this is the way in which you can be connected on things that are happening, not just in your school, but throughout the school system that could very much benefit your child or your children throughout the school system. The other thing that I always advise families to do is to join your local PTO. If you haven't done that, I urge you to do so, because the PTO and the PTSOs are very active and they promote a lot of important information about your specific school community. It also allows you as a parent to meet other parents. And what I keep hearing from parents is that having a parent partner is extremely important as they're navigating jointly, and that you don't have to feel isolated as you're trying to figure out, what are those big transitions in the school system? Where do I find this information? Who can I go? A parent partner or a parent friend going to those parent groups helps you also as a parent navigate the school system. One thing that I want to draw to your attention is you see down there the information to the everyday counts. The attendance is extremely important. We have a big campaign. It's on our website right now that says attendance matters. And some of the places where we see a drop in attendance for our students is sometimes in the very early grades and then in the high school. And so we want to bring attention that being on time to school is extremely, extremely important for the success of your student, and also attending school as much as you can. Obviously, we put guidance to parents about when, because the child may be sick, it's important to keep the kid at home, but we need to see kids attending regularly. They miss a lot when they miss a day. We also popped in there the CCPS volunteer, because if you can volunteer in your school or around the school system in other schools, it's wonderful. If you can get your neighbor to volunteer, we love it. We love volunteers in our buildings. They are extremely helpful, and we appreciate any way you can support us there. Next slide. So all of these are links, and you are welcome as you're sitting waiting for a kid to come out of practice, or if you're stuck in traffic and it's going nowhere. Please continue to come back to this PowerPoint and take some time to go deeply into each of these links. Parent View. You don't have a Parent View account, please go to that link. It'll show you how to get a Parent View account in all of our systems. This is extremely important. Again, stay connected. Where is the bus app? You will see that if you choose to do it, we have over 10,000 students and families using our Where's the Bus app. It is a very important tool. It is easy to figure out how to download it. If you don't know, or if you don't have it, there's the link for you. We have the parent handbook /calendar. The small writing on the front of every single month gives you a lot of information about the school system. Please take some time to read that information along with the code of student conduct, so that you understand how we look at student conduct and what the consequences are. I want to highlight the link to Canvas, and you see the little icon for Canvas. Canvas is something that it's a system, it's an application that we're rolling out, and it will be available to families in November. You're going to hear us talk about Canvas quite a bit. Canvas is a way where you can go in and students will go in, and all of the classes that they're taking, that is where their teachers will post assignments, and they will also post information about what they are covering in class. So if you are in high school and you want to know what you have a child in high school and you want to know what they're covering in that class, as a parent, you'll be able to go to each of their classes and look at Canvas and see more information than just the typical syllabus that you get at the high school level. So we are excited to roll this out. This is with the intent of providing you as a parent a lot more information about what your child is learning. Also, please look at all of the other links that we have here. I want to shout out the technology guide for students and parents. That link will take you to some important videos on how to monitor technology around your house and how to learn as a parent how to monitor some technology so that you are aware on the tools that your child may be in, the applications that they may be using. Important information in this day and age when we have a lot of access to technology and our students have a lot of access to technology. So from a parent perspective, it allows you some easy, quick video tips to think about as your students have more and more access to cell phones and tablets and other devices. Next slide. Very important slide. If you don't know Clever, meet Clever. Clever is pretty much the application that every single student in Charles County uses to get into multiple applications that they use throughout the school day. This is important. This is an important slide. You can go in with your child's ID number and as a parent log into your child's Clever. And once you log into Clever, you will see multiple icons that they use in school, and they're very useful to you. And so let me give you an example of some of my top favorite ones when I go in the school system as a parent and I go through Clever. At the elementary level, the purple robot is an icon that takes you to some digital reading options at the elementary level. If you're looking for opportunities to enhance reading at home and do some reading at home, and you want to try some ebooks, this is an icon that you have access to, and you can go into Clever and go into that application and continue to support reading at home, which we always tell elementary parents to do. The next icon, it says ED, is the Into Reading curriculum, which is our elementary reading and literacy curriculum. If you go there, you will be able to see a lot of the materials that the students are using into our Into Reading curriculum. FEB Tutor is an icon that provides tutoring throughout all of our schools. It is important to work with your school and talk to your school about how they use this icon, how they use this tool. Some schools are using it during the school day. Some at the higher grades and in middle and high school students can also use it after school. So this is a tutoring service that we have, and it is important for you to know that it's there and it's available to students. Once again, iReady appears. You can go through Clever and go into the iReady icon, and you can get your students' reports on how they're doing in iReady. Students just completed their fall iReady, and so there should be iReady reports coming up. And again, as I mentioned, next Tuesday, there is a Zoom meeting to talk to families about how to access their iReady reports. They will show you exactly how to get into Clever, and they will show you exactly how to access those reports in iReady. I want to highlight a couple of other icons for middle and high school students. I'm going to be talking about Zello in a few minutes. Zello is something that you'll hear me say. This is CTE month, for middle and high school students, specifically for 8th graders and 10th graders. If you have a child in 8th grade or 10th grade, please attend one of the presentations across the middle and the high schools around our CTE programs, because every student has to make a choice in 8th grade about what they want to do or what they want to choose as they transition into high school. And looking at the CTE programs is extremely important. But Zello is an application that we're using to have students learn about what kinds of careers they may have aptitude for, they may have interest for, and also Zello is our vehicle for college application moving forward. Again, you'll hear quite a bit about this a little bit more. I do want to highlight at the bottom, well, I'll say you see there BASE. BASE is a program that we use to support our students' decision-making, mental health, wellness, overall wellness in middle schools. We survey kids around how they feel their level of belonging in the schools, and we use that data as schools create their climate plans within their school improvement plans. So BASE is something that you can also peruse, and it talks about a lot of the social emotional needs of students and how to support them and how they learn to self-regulate and who they are and what their interests are. And you can go in there and see all the lessons that students have access to and can utilize. At the high school level, that little, looks like a little flower, is Khan Academy. If you're not familiar with Khan Academy is an easy resource that students have and teachers can download for their classes, where you can search. A lot of people use it for math or for science. You can search how to write an equation, and it'll show you videos that give you kind of mini tutorings on how to do that. So I'm constantly urging all of our teachers to download Khan Academy for their students. If you don't see it in your school, or if you don't see it in your students' Clever application, especially at the high school level, ask the school about it and say, hey, have you thought about having the Khan Academy option available to my student in case they're lost doing a math homework assignment, or in case they need more of an explanation for an example that was given in class. They're struggling here. It is very much an additional support to students. You see the AP College Board site, that is very much information for families to understand how to support their students that are taking advanced classwork. And it's an important application because, as I mentioned before, we are only increasing the number of students taking advanced classes, and it's important to, again, do wraparound support so that they can meet with success. Next slide. So we want to talk a little bit about what are some of the icons and places you should know about as you look at if you have a child in elementary schools. And so I highlighted 4 key things. There's many more things, but I wanted to at least give parents and families 4 key places to go. And I think we're going to go to one of them. So we're going to go first to illustrative math. The reason we are linking you from the parent's perspective to a place where you can go directly to see resources that can help your child. So this is our illustrative math. It is our curriculum that goes actually all the way up to 9th grade, I believe, or 10th grade at this point. And what you see here, Shelley, can you go back for a second? This link will send you directly to this page. And this is a page that is designed for families. So again, you'll see the illustrative math icon in the middle and in the high school pages. But it allows you to actually go in, and it also has it in Spanish, and you can see what your child is learning. If you hit on any of those grade levels, Shelley, back, if you go into kindergarten grade, and you hit on kindergarten, and then, and then you go into unit 1, so simple math. what you see is a resource as a parent that tells you, so what are the kids learning in Unit 1? A brief explanation, keep scrolling down, followed by some visuals that let you see what they're actually learning. And then it has a section that says, okay, let's try it at home. And so they have a section there that can say, here's what they're learning, and now try this at home. And this is how students, as it gets into higher and higher grade levels, it'll say, hey, by the way, here's what those sample responses should be from students. Again, a tool for parents to use. So if you want to support your kid, or if you are seeing them struggle in math, here's a way in which you can learn what they're learning and find ways to help them. Again, our core curriculum is illustrative math. If you eventually say, I want my kid to be tutored, and the tutor's like, well, what are they learning? Well, you can show them, because these resources really do engage the parent. So in our PowerPoint is to provide you direct links so you know where to go and you're not spending time trying to find things in our main website. Shelly, can we go back to the... So I obviously in the PowerPoint also highlight iReady. Again, you're going to hear me say iReady multiple times. I want families to become very confident on how to access iReady reports and know what those reports are saying. But when you look at the other things to know in terms of elementary academics, I also want to highlight the reading curriculum that is called Into Reading. Shelly, can we put that back up? There we go. Yep. So Into Reading and open source phonics are two places where we want to also give you those parent guides that help you know what your child is learning and be able to support them at home. So if you go to the link for Into Reading, you will see that we have put on our webpage for K-2 specifically in our early grades, how you can support your child at home with phonics development. And you can also then, once you know what they're learning and what they're going through, and Shelly, you're welcome to go to that website as well, then you can go to the open source phonics that we also have the link right above, and you can do mini lessons at home. They're open access data, and you can do those mini lessons. So here's the link. We'll send you directly to this website of CCPS, and if you scroll down, you will see the parent page. So here's a little parent overview of how you can support reading at home. And then a little bit further down, you'll be able to see for kindergarten, grade 1, and grade 2, a lot of parents, they just put them out there. Again, peruse them. They show you what are the kids learning as they're learning how to read. The phonics, the sounds are very important. They show you examples of words, and they give you some options of things you can do at home to support the reading development of your child at home. Again, you can look to see what students are learning at any time. We will be adding more information. We have the early grades with this kind of information as we launch. As we launch Canvas, we will also be putting those resources there so that parents can easily find information for their students. Let's go back to the PowerPoint, Shelly. So I think these are important, and they're not everything that you need to know as an elementary parent, but they're important links to begin to understand what is available for you to support your child's learning at home. When we look at middle school academics, you heard me talk about illustrative math. So again, the link is there for now middle school parents. You've heard me talk about iReady. But you've also started, you heard me talk a little bit about the fact that middle school is really a transition and preparing students for high school. So you have a link there to the program of studies, which tells you what are all the classes that students have to take in middle school. Students have to start earning student service learning hours. What's that all about? There's a link there for you. What are some of the high school classes that we offer in middle school? There's a link there for you on that. And what do I need to know about college and career readiness? And as students move from sixth grade to eighth grade, it is important that you as a parent have gone into the college and career readiness website and have seen where are all the programs, what are all the options, what does the application process look like? So that when your child gets to eighth grade and it's October, it is CTE month, you've had some experiences in understanding what the school system offers and can help guide your child in choosing what options they want to apply for. Again, Zello is the application that students will use to through Clever to understand what aptitudes, what interests they have about a possible career, to learn about careers that maybe nobody has experienced. Maybe your child would like to be a pilot, but doesn't have anybody in their family that is a pilot. Well, Zello allows them to learn about what it takes to be a pilot, what is the education, what is the salary, what is the workforce demands in the next couple of years, and they can begin to create a set of plans that better get them prepared to pursue a career in the aviation industry, for example. So Zello is one of those applications that as you go into Clever, I would urge middle school parents to begin to familiarize themselves with and understand what they do. Next slide. And as you get to high school, again, you see things like career and technical education, CTE, the program of studies in high schools, what is the requirement for a high school diploma, and for my child to graduate in time, there is a graduation status report, which is extremely important for you to follow along. Is my student on a strong trajectory to graduate on time and meet all their credit requirements? And so those links send you to those places. I do want to cue up that, there are a lot of parent-friendly resources out there about what I should be thinking about in high school. The number one thing that I tell parents to know after they get to know their child's teacher is that they need to know their high school counselor and their college and career counselor at the high school level. And then there you have a link to be able to go to each high school's website on their college and career readiness. But I want to point families to some documents that different schools, that schools post on how to navigate high school. So I'll pick on St. Charles High School. Shelley, if we can go to St. Charles High School. So St. Charles High School, in their college and career readiness website, has information that queues up for families, important information that they should be doing every year they are in high school. So this first page says, if you're interested in what are you going to do after you graduate? And ninth grade is not too early to start talking about that. Are you interested in the military? What does that take? Where do you find information? Are you interested in a work-based or apprenticeship opportunity so that you can try something out that you think might be your career, or more opportunities for the workforce? Or as you're preparing to continue into higher education, this example from St. Charles walks parents through what should I be doing that freshman year, that sophomore year, that junior year, and that senior year for my student, to be successful, to move on to their next phase in life. And so I would urge you as a high school parent to make sure that you visit the college and career website and look for these resources for families. There's different versions. Sometimes they're in PowerPoint, sometimes they're in these nice little one-pagers. And if you don't see them in your high school, ask the principal or ask the college and career person, hey, I saw that the superintendent showed that St. Charles had this. Where is it at our school? We want you to be empowered to ask us, because if we're missing something in one of our schools, we need to make sure that all of our schools have the same information to help guide parents through those 4 years of high school. So that's an important example. Again, using the links will help you navigate to specific sites that give you very important information at each stage. Next slide. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time around supporting our students' well-being, because it's extremely important that families know who to call. In this slide, you will see when do I contact my school psychologist? Every school has one. When do I contact my school counselors? Every school at least has one. At the high school, they have several. And how do I get in contact with them? And then we have something called pupil personnel workers, PPWs for short. Some of our families know them. Many of our families, I find when I go to different events and talk to people at random, don't know who they are. So pupil personnel workers are there to support a lot of social services, attendance, and they are connected to a lot of services in the county. So we wanted to make sure that if you don't know who your pupil personnel worker is or when to contact them, that you had a link to be able to do that. We also have community schools programs, and we have about 10 community schools in Charles County. They also have a representative that supports wraparound supports for families. And so it's important to know if your school is a community school and what kind of services and supports you can get through the schools to connect you with other places, as well as provide you some direct services. The mental health website, I implore you to look at the resources that we have there. We have a lot of different programs. Shelly, can we go to the next slide? There are a lot of programs that we do in our schools. So you heard me talk about base education earlier. When we go into Clever is one of the applications that I urge parents to look at, because it has a lot of important information about the developmental stages of our students as they transition from elementary to middle to high school, and how to help in some tough conversations. But we also highlight things like the national movement of Talk They Hear You. These are parent tips on how to talk about difficult topics to your students, and knowing that sometimes they may not respond to you, but they're always listening and they're always looking for ways to understand how you feel about specific topics, whether it's friendships, whether it's how they're feeling, their levels of anxiety, and all of the things that they go through. So I urge families to go into our website and look for these different supports, and they're here linked for you so that you know what we have. The school system also brings in behavioral and mental health supports. We have a contract with Hazel for telehealth services. We also do supports directly to our students in our schools. But I wanted to provide at least a couple of different places where you can learn about not just the curriculums that we use. Move This World is used at the elementary level, BASE is used at the secondary level, but also tools where you can go and get ideas on how to have some tough conversations. I understand middle school, high school can, but it is important that families have those conversations with their students, because you may be talking to them. Be sure that even if they pretend that they're not listening, they are always listening. Next slide. So I wanted to spend a few minutes talking to some of our families that have to navigate the system with maybe some additional supports. And so I'll start with our multilingual families. If you go to the English language development link, you will go to the website that explains what our programs are for supporting multilinguals, for supporting students that are learning learning English as they are working on their learning of academics. So you'll get all that information there. I also think that you can find ways to support your child, even if you are yourself learning English. And it is extremely important that we understand that language is an asset, and multiple languages are just more assets. So in the school system, we want to support multilingualism for families to be able to maintain their first language, as they're learning English second language. So we have some resources up there from Colorín Colorado, which provides a lot of tips for families. They're available in English and in Spanish, and I believe in a couple of other languages, on how to support first language at home. Continue reading in the native language, continue speaking in that first language, and supporting kids to do so, because that only helps strengthen their acquisition of English. We have expanded in the last 2 years also ways to promote that bilingualism for our Spanish-speaking families by providing heritage and native Spanish courses that begin as early as middle school. These are think of them as a literature course where we use original literature, poetry, and students learn to be fully biliterate in both languages. So they accelerate their language learning, and they're not in a class that assumes that they don't have any language base in Spanish. And so we want those students to, again, be exposed to rigorous learning environments that support keeping their bilingualism. We're seeing more and more of our students earn the seal of biliteracy in so many different languages. And we're going to come up with more and more ways to support multiple languages so more students can earn the seal of biliteracy in their first language and be able to use that as a way to, in the workforce, show their employer that they actually are multilingual. The last thing I'll say is our interpreter support, our Spanish hotline, the phone number, we wanted to make sure families had access to it. It is right there for families to access so that they can ask the school system any questions that they have in Spanish. Next slide. Finally, my advice to multilingual families is that they follow us. The ELD program on Facebook has a great Facebook page that has a lot of information for multilingual families, and we urge them to follow us. Our offices have also created a Hispanic parent advocacy group, and you see the dates there when they meet. And I urge families, again, to find their parent partner, and that is a great way for you to network and meet other families. They may be going to other schools, but they may be experiencing some of the same things that your children and your family is experiencing, and it's just a great network of support, as well as the ELD community nights. Again, links for families to go to that. Talking Points is an application that most schools are using, not all, and we're going to get to all schools, but it is a way in which our multilingual families can send a message in any language, and it can be translated to the teacher in English, and then the teacher can respond and be translated to whatever language the family needs the response in. So Talking Points is something that I'm going to continue to ensure that more and more of our teachers are using as a vehicle to communicate with families that are multilingual and may need translation as they're trying to create those relationships with teachers that we all as parents are trying to do as we get to know our teachers so that we can easily communicate about the progress of our students. Next slide. I want to end with our special education families and the resources that we have available for them. So it was important for me to send you to a quick link overview about the IEP process. It's extremely important that families are well aware of what those processes look like. And then who do you call for what? It can seem very daunting to families. We put some resources there. And we put some information on upcoming parent resource nights and the Special Education Expo, which is a way for you to come as a parent and learn, but also network with other parents. Again, find your parent partner across the school system. Parent supports is extremely important. And finally, I want to highlight CCAC. CCAC is the Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee. If we're talking about creating networks of support for families, this is one exemplary example in our school system. CCAC, the link is there to them. I think Shelley's going on the website. It is an opportunity for you families to learn a lot of information, ask a lot of questions. Here's the Facebook page for CCAC. They post a lot of really important things for families to know about. I urge you to come to their monthly meetings and get to know their families. So yes, every individual kid is different and their supports might be different, but some things they can help guide and connect and help you navigate the school system in many ways. So I our families with students that have IEPs to connect to CCAC and able to participate and be on their Facebook and be that way. I want to very quickly, as we wrap up and come to the end, I know people have been putting questions on the chat. Please take a few minutes if you have a question, if you have a suggestion. Again, this is a PowerPoint that will be posted tomorrow. We'll start sending it out to social media. Please feel free to use it with your families. It is all links, and it is an opportunity for families to find the different places where they belong, where they have students, and go to a couple of links to find important information that pertains to them. We will also be responding to a lot of the questions that you had, and we will be growing this parent resource. Part of the way we grow this parent resource page on our website is by hearing from you what else you'd like to see more information. So we have about 3 minutes. I want to see if we can take maybe 2 or 3 questions from the chat. Again, we'll respond to all of the other questions when we post all of the information, but just wanted to see if we can maybe tackle 2 or 3 questions, Shelley.
Sure. Dr. Navarro, there's a question in the chat about will there be any efforts to develop language immersion for kids past the pre-K kindergarten level so that they can take advantage of this opportunity, similar to benefits about traveling abroad and students getting experiences outside of the traditional setting?
Yes, our plan is to grow the two-way immersion program right into middle school and high school. So the only reason we started with kindergarten and pre-K this year is because we need to start with the little ones. They are the ones that will grow every single year. Will grow 1 or 2 grade levels and get into a middle school and a high school program. Yes.
Another question I see is what informal and formal assessments are conducted to target kindergarten students?
So great question. One of the things I did not mention is that the kindergarten readiness assessment, similar to the state assessment, is a one-time assessment. This year, the state will not be giving that assessment. The assessment's going to come, but in the interim, we use a progress monitoring assessment. Think iReady for pre-K. That is called our Acadians, and we will be, so Acadians is sort of your iReady that you should be monitoring as a parent in those early grades. We will be talking about the progress of our students in Acadians because we don't have a kindergarten state assessment this year, and that is our progress monitoring, our iReady for early grades.
Okay, we have another question about where can parents find data information specific to special education?
Please go to our strategic plan link. There you will see every single data point that I went through for the state assessment and the iReady in show the performance of students with disabilities or special education students. So please go to our strategic plan. You see the links scattered through the first set of slides that I presented tonight, and that will take you to a lot more data. I could go for an hour just showing data slide after data slide, but I have been told that a lot of people fall asleep when I do that. So I try not to do that tonight, but the strategic plan has all of those data broken down by different subgroups, including students with disabilities.
And then if we have time for one more question, can the school system offer community-led higher dosage tutoring to help students with academic?
We have a program called Partner in Education, and I would say that I'm always interested in finding out what community organizations and community partners can do and can work with us on. So absolutely, I love to investigate more of those opportunities. We have virtual online tutoring in a lot of our elementary schools. We actually bring in tutors that we pay for to do tutoring during the school day, always looking for options. So please reach out to myself or reach out to the Partner in Education office. And Tracy Chapelleri, who is our director there, can also help connect some ideas in case organizations want to work with us. We always want to hear what options there are for our students. I want to respect folks' time. I know there's a lot of questions. If you still have questions, please type them in, go through all of them. If you have on other things you want to see, again, this PowerPoint was designed to link parents quickly to a lot of information. We know you're going to go back and look at that PowerPoint multiple times. If you're a parent, please, or here, tell your neighbors, tell your friends, that we have this and we're posting this so that parents can be well informed. We want to see parents engage with us, and we want to know what else we can support with. We do a lot of Zoom meetings and we record them and we then put them up so that we can have the opportunity for families to go back at their when their time permits and see the information and then just have time to digest it. I want to thank everybody who came this evening, and I want to thank our staff for supporting and navigating this point and going to different sites. We really hope you have gained information to help your student and your child. And our parents are our partners, and we need our parents and our families. The school system has some work to do in some areas and has done excellent work in others, but our focus is to continuously improve. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Take care, everybody.